Welcome. We are here for the 6th and last round of the ESCC calendar, and as you saw in the intro, this was not the chill season-ending race we hoped for. Luckily, during the actual race it didn't rain, which is cool I guess, but the whole track was filled with puddles left from practice, especially since this track was full of elevation changes, so the changing conditions were bound to be difficult for everybody. Our roster also changed for the final round this season. Laci became the core member of the team because he has never missed a round. Norby also came back from holiday, so this time it was I who was missing. Not to worry though, we had one more reserve driver who we could rely on. The trusty Norwegian, Vegard Johansen. So now that the team has assembled, let's see how it all went down. Qualifying felt great for Laci. Although the track's still puddly, he went out on dry tires and set a great lap time which was good enough for P3. A strong performance to start with for sure. And for those who are new to this format, since Laci qualified, he was required to hop in the car for the first stint. We all were confident in a good start, since this was Laci's third race start in the championship, so third time's the charm. It's safe to say that he was already used to the pressure. But not to waste any more time, let his actions do the speaking. Well, that was an eventful race start, huh? Right off the bat we passed the Alpine in the start, and this incident between the pro cars granted us P1. And as the track goes to green once again, Laci's job now is to run away with this lead as far as he can before anything else happens. So he dives down the inside of the Pro Impact car in order to put him between us and P2, but Impact won't allow us to just take that position freely, so he takes the inside and tries to stay there as long as he can, but Laci has the overspeed as they touch in the last corner, and that's that. Job done for now. On to lap 6, we are hoping that things have calmed down and the next few hours won't have any complications.
Oh! Who's that? That is the real esports car who's had a moment on the outside of turn 1. He's gone on the curbing as he's turned into turn 2. Loses the rear of the car, nearly collected the Alpine.
Yeah, I swear, things going smooth is the biggest fear of this team. But onwards, after a few laps approaching turn 5, we see the aftermath of a huge crash happening in front of us.
On turn 5, and then we're going to continue on forward. See Arya Bass over here, sees a little bit of a moment, and boom, making moves on turn 1. Is that on me? Out.
Oh, late dive. Late dive. So Impact's been spun around by one of the LMP2.
Whoa.
So yeah, not the biggest crashes, but an unfortunate one for sure, as we see Revolution and Prismatic, both of them getting a meatball, which puts us back to P6. And after a lengthy safety period, which collects the field, Laci suddenly decides he doesn't want to be involved in the lead pack.
Now into turn 3, there's another car off, and that is the Alpine! The championship protagonist of Alpine are dropping down the order, and they are off and are having to sit and wait as the Impact car's got a penalty. There is the VGTR esports car as everybody avoids him. He reverses off of line, and he's now got to sit and wait for the field to come flooding past him, and this has got to be cold tyres on a damp track.
That is exactly what happened. But fortunately we weren't the only ones who have run out of talent, as we see the Italian job Ferrari touch the inside puddle with cold tires, and that's their race over. But on to lap 24, as you can see we caught W2 Esports, so that's another position up for grabs. The next straight is, the start-finish straight is a pretty long one, so I think this pass with the slipstream it's gonna be a walk in the park for Lazzi as we see him pass the W2 Esports, and that's another position for us. Back into P5. A few laps later, we go through with the first stop of this race, as Lazzi is taking the pit entry conservatively, because he doesn't want any more incident points. And the first driver change also takes place this lap, as we see the next victim, Vegard, pull out of the pits. And I say victim because just a few corners later, this happens. Okay, enough is enough. I hereby rename the team. Now VGTR stands for Velocity Gain Traction Reduction. Anyway, where was I? Other than that, his first stint was mostly uneventful. Fortunately, Vegard was the fastest out of the three of them, and that was his only big mistake on track, that is. Foreshadowing. But after a quick tire change, he was on his way again to chase down P5. But all the previous mistakes they had led to them being on the verge of a drive-through penalty, and one more tiny mistake later, we received that feared black flag.
Does Mercury have its own moment again? Yep, drops the rear over the curb, and as he spins around, he rolls it backwards. And this is why drivers, in my opinion, should try and hold their brakes, because he's just rolled into the path there.
1. Virtual safety car deployed.
Fortunately, all of this happened on the same lap, so the next logical step would be to serve the drive-through black flag during this lap, because the pit limiter is already on, so we would have no time loss coming out of the pits. So that's exactly what Vegard did. And as you can see, there are many teams in the pits who are taking this opportunity to change tires, or perhaps even drivers as well. And after getting waved by behind the safety car,
17 pass around.
we somehow find ourselves back in P3 for the restart of the race. But as we are slowly reaching the end of the third hour, we are still not freed from the third driver change. So, as usual, we have to give back all the positions we've gained so far. Thankfully at this point the last 3 places are already multiple laps down on us even, so we only go back to P6, but that's devastating nonetheless. But enough with the sadness. We still have 1 hour left from this race, and that's plenty of time to catch back up if we just keep the car clean and don't make any mistakes. I mean, that's gonna be an easy task to do. I mean, that's... okay, never mind. What is happening with these cold tires, man? Okay, ready? VGTR now stands for Vehicle Ground Torque Redistribution. Okay, I'll stop now. Anyway, just a few laps later, the team is notified by the race control that we got a drive-through penalty for serving the black flag under the... So the next logical step would be to serve the drive-through black flag during this lap. Oh no, this can't get any worse, right guys? I mean, at least the sun comes up from the darkness to cheer us up, if nothing else. On to lap 100 then, as we approach the start-finish line, as a wild Veloty number 27 Pro-Am LMP2 appears, who got held up by the traffic, and momentarily we take P5, but then in turn 3 Veloty takes back that position. But Norby knows he shouldn't let this one go, and perhaps out of desperation, he brakes on the curbing and nearly runs into the back of our rival. There's some scary stuff going down in Portimao. Thankfully though, Veloty is getting held up by traffic once again, which gives us one more chance down to the start-finish straight to take P5.
No, we cannot. There's a lot of traffic. That is the Vortex Audi just in front. They're trying to put a lap on. They're going to try and split the Vortex Audi. One up the inside, one round the outside, except one was well off the circuit as he put the lap on the Audi, and he got the move done! So he's gone right around the outside of the Audi, gets the move done. So the VGTR Esports LMP2 Pro-Am car has made up a position, and Hedgie there moves up into P5, but off the circuit. Questions may be asked about that one. But Veloty will be very disgruntled with the way that's come about. NOP do lead this race by 5.6 seconds. The NL Academy have got a penalty coming their way, and here comes Seba up the inside to the outside of the Portimao corner once again. Comes the Velotti car, and contact! Both are around at the top of Portimao. They've got to be careful on getting going here. They both are indeed careful. Hedgie waits for them all to go while Velotti get going, and they've both got a penalty coming their way. 2 black flags next to their names.
Yeah, make of this move what you will, but I think, in my opinion, Velotti turned in on us while we were still alongside defending. But anyway, we just have to take the L for now and serve the penalty. And while we are in the vicinity of the pit lane, 2 laps later, Norby comes in for the last stop of this season. And after a war crime here, and a close call there, we can finally sit back, relax and watch Norby take the checkered flag in P5. And yes, P5 it is, because in the end we took the position from Velotti, who got other black flags and penalties to serve, which in the end didn't even matter, because as we found out later that day, Velotti got disqualified from the race actually, because of vacuum swapping. Interesting. But anyway, thank you guys so much for cheering us on until the very end of the season. We'll definitely be back for the next one. Cheers guys.